full, it tickles, okay? So you don't want to poke too much, okay? And what I want to do is I want to take 1 inch down on an angle. It's a diagonal line right here, 1 inch diagonal line down from the very top part of the hip. And then I want to take a diagonal fold 1 inch out from that hip area. So right here, okay? So you feel for the top of the hip bone, you follow that 1 inch down, kind of at a diagonal, and then 1 inch out, okay? Now, the third measurement that I'm going to take is on the mid-thigh right here. So I'm going to have Casey just kind of put her right leg, have her stand on her toe, so there's a little bit of a bend in her hip. And I'll ask the client, I'll ask them, you know, to put their hand in the crease between their hip and their leg. So go ahead, Casey, and put your hand between the crease of your hip and your leg right there. That's the crease right there. Perfect. So I go from the crease of the hip and the leg all the way down to the patella. And I take it mid-thigh right there. Now, for those of you guys, when you're reading the book, you see the girth measurements. They get really specific in your NASM book about where to take the thigh measurement. I take the thigh measurement at the exact same site that I do the skin fold right here, okay? But you'll notice in the foresight method, they don't actually have a thigh method. But that's one of the ways that I go ahead and do that. Now, you'll notice this tape that I'm using, it's a Myo tape, okay? It's the kind of tape when you're doing girth measurements that you connect, okay? And you need to realize that this flat portion of the tape that goes along the body is 2 inches. So the tape measure starts at 2 inches. So you need to be careful if you're recording any measurements that the tape starts at 2 inches, not at 0 inches, okay? So 2 different types of calipers that I have. You guys should all have these calipers, okay? One of them has a little bit of a depression here. When I press in on it, it will actually make a sound, a little clicking noise when I hit that sweet spot of the measurement, okay? The other one just has an arrow that you align together when you get the correct measurement. You guys can see that arrow, okay? So just make sure that whichever one you're using the same instrument that you did your pre-test with as you're doing your post-test, or else you're really not going to have very accurate results. Okay. All right, so I'm going to have Casey turn around sideways right here. Make sure we're in the shot. And now what I do, everybody does this a little bit different, but what I do is I take 2 fingers here on either side of my mark, okay? And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the fatty tissue. I'm, of course, not looking to measure muscle as fat. I don't want to get any muscle in there. So what I'll ask Casey to do is I'll say, I want you to flex your tricep by extending your elbows. Ooh, look at that. Oh, yeah, she's all jacked up right here. Okay, and then go ahead and relax. And then that helps me identify whether or not I've got any muscle in that measurement. Then I keep one hand on that pinch, and I go in ahead and I take my skin fold measurement, and I've got 18 inches. There, Casey. Question from the group.
Yeah, I was just curious for the tape measure. Is there a reason why it starts at 2 inches?
Yes, good question. Because let's say I'm going to go ahead and take a measurement, and I'm going to do this in a second here, actually. I'll take a measurement of Casey's arm. You see how this particular tape measure wraps around? Okay, it's got a spring in it that gives the same tension each time you measure. So, but in order for this to work this way, you have to factor in that this part of the tape is 2 inches long, this part of the instrument. If that makes sense. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Sure, no problem. So we're going to go over to the hip measurement right now. Let's move in just a little bit closer. Okay, so, and I got to tell you guys this one story. Did I tell you guys the story about the grandma I did the skin fold assessment with? I was doing a Biggest Loser contest at a resort in North Scottsdale. And, you know, some ladies, they'll go and, you know, especially the older ones, they'll have their shorts up, you know, nice and high. And so I'm trying to be very polite and discreet, you know, because some people are very sensitive about this sort of thing. So I'm like, you know, I'm bending the shorts down and I'm taking this measurement, and as I take the measurement, I go ahead and I write it down, and then I say to her, I say, you know, I'd like to take that measurement again, because I'm not sure if it was as accurate as it could be. If we could put the shorts down just a little bit here. And she says, okay, you can go ahead and do that. So I pull the shorts down just a little bit, and then I get a measurement, and I say to her, see, I got a better measurement. That was actually a smaller measurement than the last one I took. So, you know that works. Pulling these shorts down, and she says, oh, really? Well, if you got a better measurement pulling these shorts down, she starts to pull her shorts down a little bit more on her thigh. Anyway, she was cracking me up. I turned all 3 shades of red, and she was having a laugh at my expense. But anyway, so for this thigh measurement, same thing. I take both hands. I get a good piece of that tissue right here, the skin fold, okay, and want to make sure that I'm not getting any muscle in there. And then I take the measurement with my free hand. So I've got 17. So hopefully you guys are seeing where Clarissa is putting in this data on Excel. So we've got 18, we've got 17, and then we have our thigh measurement. And the thigh measurement, for some people, this is a really hard measurement because it's difficult to get a really good pinch. Okay, and again, you don't want to have muscle. So what I'll ask Casey to do is go ahead and flex her thigh. There we go. Yep, and go ahead and relax. And that helps me get that pinch. Hopefully that doesn't feel uncomfortable there. You okay? All right. And then I've got 22. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell Casey I want to take that measurement one more time, just because I'm masochistic. And no, I'm not. I'm not trying to hurt her. A lot of times, it's well, I shouldn't say a lot of times. It's recommended that you actually take these skin folds 3 times on your client, at least 2 to 3 times. If you take it a second time and you get a different result the second time, take it a third time, you should be able to pair up between the 2 measurements on your third measurement. If you don't, it means you need some more practice doing skin fold measurements. Okay. When I was doing my graduate degree, part of my class for fitness assessment, we all had to line up and do skin fold assessments on each other after the instructor did a skin fold assessment. And if our number didn't meet up with what the instructor had, we flunked. How about that? It was very, yeah, we were very cued in on being precise in our measurements. Okay, so that 3-site measurement is what we've got for Casey there. And now I'm going to go up to the top and ask Casey her age. 31. And how much do you weigh, Casey? 143. She says 143. And I got to tell you guys, when I put people on the scale, I always tell them, you know, you have to be careful with this scale. The scale's got, you know, an attitude. The last time I put somebody on this particular scale, it said 1 at a time, please. Okay, so our results over here for Casey, for the lady, okay, is, let's see. So percent body fat, I have you at 18.5% body fat.